Welcome back. So 2 videos in, and I haven't really spoken about my RISD course yet, the 7-week intensive digital design course. The second set of modules opens up today, but the truth is there hasn't been much to talk about yet. The first week of material went over file types. It went over things like resolution, things like compression, and what form is appropriate to use and when. And in fact, just for a little bit of a review, and maybe because you didn't know this and it'll be useful for you to learn this as well, I'll do a quick review of that at the end of the video. A little disappointing. Again, the class cost $455 plus a year's subscription to Photoshop, which wound up being over $700, about $720, not the $455. And I signed up for the class thinking that it would be intensive and I would be learning at a pretty rapid pace for 7 weeks. And the first week has not been that. It's been a handful of definitions. I emailed the professor to see if he could open up week 2's modules, thinking that honestly, as I'm new to the program, figuring out where to click, what to do is going to take me a long time. There's going to be a bunch of those moments where it's like I get to a certain point, I know where he wants me to go, but I just don't know where to click or how to save or something simple and functional, but unknown to me. And so that's going to cost me 20 minutes. And I expect that to happen a lot. And so I asked him if he could open up the second week of modules, and he said no. He said they're automatically locked until week 2. He also said that was because a lot of late arrivals join and he didn't want them to feel behind. That rubbed me the wrong way because I'm paying for the class, I showed up on time, and while I'm definitely sympathetic to people hopping into a class late, in my view, it's their job to catch up. And I should be getting the most out of this. Week 1 was really thin on information, especially considering how the class was built. It leads me to wonder one of two things. One, is this class simply not going to be as intensive as advertised? If that's the case, if every single week there's roughly week 1's worth of material, then this class simply wasn't worth it. Again, I got through the material, the first set of videos, in about 2 hours. There's roughly an hour videos. It usually takes me about 2.5 times to go through them, take notes, be attentive to what the details are. So if there's an hour of videos, I can expect to spend about 2.5 hours on it. But I did that all a week ago. I did it in an afternoon. I buckled down, got it done. And then I redid them. I redid them on Friday. Once again, I just went through the entire videos. I copied what he was doing. But again, that was me making work to be thorough. So if the whole course is like that it's roughly 2.5, I'll be generous and say 4 hours of work a week, again, this course wasn't worth it. The other possibility, equally unpleasant, is that it is in fact a slow ramp up to the material, and then the later weeks will be packed and busy and more intensive. If that's the case, I'm going to call that poor course design, because I'm ballparking it here, for the 15 pieces of information that we were given in week 1, I don't want us to be in week 3, week 4, and be having assignments and projects due and be rushing to get them done when I've had time up front that I could have invested in them. Right now, I'm thinking of one of two things. Either one, the course isn't as intensive as I expected it to be, therefore I don't love the money that I've spent on it. Or 2, the course is backloaded with projects and information, and that's just poor course design. Either way, I'm sticking with it. The second set of modules open today. I'm going to sit down and get started with that. And that's pretty much all I have to say. I am really excited about learning Photoshop. It's such a powerful tool. I have it for a year. This class only goes for 6-7 weeks, but I'll have the program for another 10.5 months. And I really want to dig into it. I'm hoping, at least with the 3D design class I'm taking, where I'm making the pyramids and the sculptures, I might be able to make some really interesting layouts with the thing that I create and Photoshop tools. Later on, when I'm taking the animation course, same thing. I hope to be able to make some really interesting backgrounds or be blending the two mediums going forward. So I still have hope for what I can get out of Photoshop. With that, I'm going to get to work, and I'll do a quick review for anybody interested in about what different file types are, their relative sizes, and what they're best used for. So stick around for that if you want. Otherwise, I'll catch you in the next video. Okay, as promised, we're going to break down measuring data and file types real quick. Measuring data starts off with a bit. It's 1 or 0. It's binary, it's on or off. It's those are the basic building blocks of all digital information, a bit. From there, we go to a byte, and a byte is 8 bits. An example of that is 100, 100, 10. That's it. Eight digits, 0 or 1, that is a byte. That's it. Next, we jump to a kilobyte. And a kilobyte is 1024 bytes. And it's shorthanded 1 KB. They should be capitalized. From there, we jump up to a megabyte. And you'll see a repeating pattern here that a megabyte is 1024 kilobytes. And it's 1 MB. We're going to go right on through. A gigabyte is 1024 megabytes, 1 GB. We got a terabyte. Computers and external hard drives are pretty commonly in terabytes now. And a terabyte, once again, is 1024 gigabytes, and that equals 1 terabyte. And you're going to see this one coming pretty soon, and it's a petabyte. Now, petabytes are commercially available. They're very expensive. In 4 years, they're going to be the same cost and probably smaller than your external hard drive holding a terabyte. But keep an eye out for a petabyte. It's a PB, and it's 1024 terabytes. Working our way from smallest to largest, it goes bit, byte, kilobyte, megabyte, gigabyte, terabyte, petabyte. So another piece of useful information is file formats. I've never really been sure on these, so here's a quick breakdown for anybody who's never been unsure of these like me, and let's just run through them. So file formats, the first ones we're going to see are text or RFT. These are basic text. These are just words on a screen, no fluff, that's it. They're the smallest files there are. Next we have PDFs. Now PDFs were initially made for text. They've expanded their functionality. But they are for portable documents with preserved appearances. So a PDF should look the same on any software, on any computer, and that's by design. They're meant to have like good security. Think government taxes. They use PDFs, and it requires Adobe Acrobat to open up the file. The more modern iterations can be tinkered with. You can write things and delete things. In some ways, reduces its security overall, but that was its original intention, to preserve a low data document that looked the same everywhere it went. So next we're going to talk about the JPEG. The JPEG is for photos or photorealistic images, was its original function. It can take something like a picture from your phone, which when initially taken is going to be 30 or 40 megabytes. But if you then compress it, make it smaller, and save it as a JPEG, you can send it, you can post it on the web. It's not going to take up a lot of space. And ultimately, you can get it from 30 or 40 megs, 17 kilobytes, which is a huge data savings. And the picture is still going to look really good for sharing. So it's compression for images. Next, we have the GIF or GIF, depending on who you are. Again, it's going to be compression. It's really meant for animations. It's not really meant to preserve with great quality photorealistic images. A GIF can use photorealistic images to make an animation, but it's not really for that. It's really for compressing animations and the new concept of transparency. You can't take a JPEG in that form, look through it, think cellophane versus paper. A GIF offers that flexibility where JPEG is paper. GIF can have a cellophane property to it where you can see through it. Next, we're going to come to PNGs. Now, PNGs again are going to be compression. You're going to get less compression. The benefit of a PNG though is it's going to be lossless. What you're going to lose as far as image quality is next to nothing. You are going to get less file savings as a result, kind of expectedly. So the next thing that PNG is going to offer is translucency. So where the GIF gives transparency, where you can look through something, the PNG offers the ability to kind of shade that. So you might have a map of a country on a poster board, and through that map of the country, you can see images of castles or exotic animals, but you can still see the map of the country. So that's translucency. So the image on top can still be seen for what it is, but you can place visible images behind it as well. So it offers compression, lossless compression, and introduces translucency. Lastly is TIFF. Now, TIFFs are not for compression. The newer iterations you can compress, but it's not what they're for. We're talking about archival or print. We're talking about, with a TIFF, we're talking about saving something in its original form forever, making it as digitally clean and pure of a copy that can exist without corruption in perpetuity. The Library of Congress uses TIFF for all of its digital formats for that very reason. It's not going to change its form, it'll last forever. And again, a TIFF file isn't about saving digital space, it's about preserving content forever. So in general, these are the sizes that we're gonna look for. So you got your text and RTF being the smallest, PDFs, JPEGs, GIFs, PNGs, and TIFFs in increasing size all the way down. So if you're ever confused about file formats and which one to use, you can use this list. I hope that helps. Bye.